Hello guys, DJParson and I'm back with another video of the current stage of the World Championship of the Ages. And we have another hyped match. We have Silent X 111 versus Weida. So two very good Chinese players. So a Chinese top match. This match was recommended to me by Payada. So I'm very grateful for that because I also don't know how it will end. So that is exciting. So yeah, let's see what we have as far as leaders and wonders go. There's Hammurabi, there's a library which we saw was already taken, and there is no Gutenberg, but we have Shakespeare, no Bach, Pierre's here, always good to see. Marlene is here. Hollywood, also Fleming, Marlene, alright, Internet, Red Cross Man Project, Suez, but no Cook, Great Wall, Kremlin. So a good amount of MAs, not all of them, but yeah, a lot of them. So as we already saw, Silent has just taken the library, leaving Weida the option to go probably Alex and Rich Land, I would imagine, or Urban Growth. He will take this Rich Land so that Cleo will stay on 2 civil actions. Definitely a good choice. Make it hard on Silent what he wants to go for. He does have to pay 2 extra for Cleopatra, so already great move by Weida to just take the other rich land. And then he builds the lab first here with that extra rock from Cleo. Weida takes urban growth, will increase pop, build a mine, grab, play Alex and not grab an HA Wonder. That is surprising, I would say. I mean, Roman Roads is a really good Wonder in my opinion. Maybe he thinks differently. Also by taking this urban growth, that means permits will not be here next turn. So I'm really interested why take urban growth over taking Roman roads. And then second, why take the urban growth and then not allow yourself to go for permits? Probably because he favors the Forbidden City. That is an early HA Wonder that has come out. So I would assume that his plan is to grab that. Then urban growth will probably allow that for 1 civil action, which we will find out next turn. Engineering Genius from Silent. He will increase pop, build a mine, and then probably use the extra rock from Cleo to build the first stage of the library. Meaning he has no free population. Meaning Weida could push. Will he push? No, he uses Alex, takes the breakthrough, and will increase pop and build that, or grab that Forbidden City now. And then with this growth, builds 1 lab. So yeah, he decides that he just waits 1 more turn, doesn't grab an HA Wonder, but grabs the Forbidden City instead. I mean, I can see that. I know a lot of people don't really like skipping HA Wonders, and there's some cards to punish it, like the Knowledge of the Ancients. If you don't have an HA Wonder, that is a lot worse for you. Like the, I guess, a bit of Wonders, but there the difference isn't really that big, so that is not really a good argument. Maybe also Ravages of Time a little bit, we will see. So Silent will finish the library this turn, grabs Michelangelo and Bread and Circus. I like that. Michelangelo plus Bread and Circus is like a small Pierre de Coubertin, giving a lot of culture from those buildings. But the main goal of Michelangelo is not the culture generation in most matches. It is getting those nice wonders for cheap, and he's probably taking a look at that at the Silk Road here that he wants to grab the next turn, I would imagine. So Weida, does he push this time? No, but he will reveal his tactic. The Legion, increase pop, Masonry. Oh, Masonry is a great pickup with this Forbidden City. Also has a breakthrough in hand, so he has enough science for it. Personally, I guess you can play. Yeah, I guess you can play the Legion. Usually I don't like it that much, but Silent already has taken a leader. He has taken Michelangelo, so Weida can, if he wants to, just go for Zizka next turn. That can't be denied. So I think I like that. And then he develops the Masonry, builds 2 stages with 1 civil action of the Forbidden City. Next turn can finish that. That will solve his happy phases and give him extra civil actions. So this early, yeah, Forbidden City is pretty good Wonder. Not a single development has been played yet, and Silent also does not reveal anything. He will elect Michelangelo. He will grab that Silk Road, getting 1 extra rock from Michelangelo. And now he also probably wishes that he had a masonry, but he doesn't, so he can build 1 stage, and then probably has to increase population 2 times and build Aurora to get out of corruption. Yeah. Alright. Next up is a Weida again. Will he push? Finally, the first development. No. Still no pushing going on. And he decides to go for Saladin over Zizka. I think that is a really interesting choice. Zizka would give him the 3rd MA, which he currently doesn't have. He does have an extra civil action. So I kind of not agree. Zizka is enabled. He does have attack. Legion is not the best one, but it's okay. And it would start culture generating. I'm surprised, but of course, different players have different likes as far as their leaders and wonders go. And this is definitely not bad. Saladin is always solid. I just would have thought that Zizka would have been better here. Development of warfare is revealed by Silent, and he can't take it here because he would have an uprising then, if I'm correct. Yeah, he decides not to build the warrior because he doesn't have the extra pop, so that sucks for him. And yeah, that was finally our first development that was revealed. And Silent just finishes the Silk Road. So Weida will grab the printing press still. Frugality 2 develops that. I mean, these are really, really cheap. Printing presses for 2 rocks are even better than normal printing presses. And they already are pretty good at the moment. Only problem that I see for him, he already has 2 philosophies. So he doesn't have that much pop. He doesn't have any extra food income. So I guess he did have the extra 1 yellow cube from Alex. And his happy faces are solved from wonders. So he doesn't need to build any happy face buildings. So I guess he does have some extra population to put in the printing presses. And that's what he will do. Also grabbing Engineering Genius and still that iron. And I think I really like Weida's position here. Some interesting choices by him, but I think overall this has put him in a really good position. Iron in hand, so next turn he can just, when he runs out of population, he can just upgrade his iron. So he has things to do. Has a lot of culture production, has some useful techs, I mean mainly the 1 masonry, but a lot of science, so he can go for the code, can go for the monarchy if he wants, or just save up the science. So I like his position. Science isn't bad, but he hasn't found a way to spend his science yet. He has not researched anything, and you don't want to have 15 science just sitting around this early. You want to spend it somewhere. It's not doing anything just sitting around. One way to spend it is going for iron, of course, and that's what he does, and increases pop. Also a little bit unfortunate for him, he will not be able to get another H1 wonder. The Great Wall came in the same turn that he grabbed the Silk Road and was gone before he could grab it, and Taj Mahal. You don't really want to grab this here, I think. So yeah, Michelangelo not doing the most, has given him 1 civil action and 1 rock at this point. But maybe he can turn it up in the next age. Weida grabs rich land, probably goes for iron. No, increases pop first, grabs drama. Oh, he is setting up a Shakespeare here. For that he would need more population. Let's see if he grabs the irrigation. Yes, he grabs the irrigation. Builds another printing press as well. Yeah, as long as you have population, why not use it to build some extra buildings? Getting more science, starting the culture. Next turn, I would think he finally goes for the iron, but maybe he prioritizes the irrigation first. Wouldn't be surprised. Both of them are pretty good here for him. Because, I mean, yeah, these printing presses are really cheap. Only 2 rocks, so he's not spending too many rocks. Has rich land in hand and engineering genius, so he has a lot of rocks. So yeah, I could definitely see him go for irrigation next turn over that iron first. Silent will start into H2 now. He will push as well the second development. These guys are not fans of playing cards. They don't like playing cards in this card game. Will open the development of agriculture for 2 food. We'll grab the code. So finally a way to spend more of his science. will increase 1 production of his iron, grabs reserve, probably the reserve for food. He's missing 1 extra food to get another population out, but he could also easily get that from the last 2 developments. Besides that, yeah, Spend a Sign still has a lot, so both are probably. But especially Silent is searching for early governments. Republic, Cornmon. I think Republic is definitely okay in this game. There's extra MAs from Napoleon, from Kremlin. Maybe even you can combo it with Robespierre. So MAs will be a little bit of a struggle here, I think, because no one has taken the monarchy. At least I'm assuming no one will go for monarchy. No one is taking theocracy or the warfare, so all the MAs from the first age have not been taken. So the ones from H2 will be even more important. So if you're forced into Republic, your opponent could eventually maybe deny you the MAs that you need. So Weida will get an extra pop, development of settlement here, or both of them of course, and actually decides he will go for the monarchy. I think I like that. Yeah, he can go for monarchy and irrigation this turn. It will finally give him his extra MA, and he already has good civil actions, and the MA is really important at this point. So I think I like that. And he proves me wrong again. He doesn't want to go for the monarchy, doesn't want to go for the irrigation first, but goes for iron first, upgrades 1, grabs cultural heritage, and grabs another one. Yeah, I could see both. I could see both. Going for monarchy and irrigation here this turn could also work. I didn't count the civil actions, so it could be that he then wouldn't have enough science to go for irrigation afterwards. But with the cultural heritage, he should have been able to. So I think it's interesting that he grabs the monarchy, especially because he grabbed it first. That is not always a tell here in these replays, but sometimes it can be. It's not like he spent his last civil action grabbing the monarchy, he spent his first civil action doing so. So it definitely wasn't like, I have hand space, let's just grab it because why not? Felt more like, yeah, I want that one and what else do I do? But if you go for the monarchy, why not play it now? Draw those extra H2 military cards, but we will see. Silent will grab cannon and journalism. The second cannon also comes out pretty early, so yeah, he has to take this cannon, no way around that. And then he also goes for the journalism. Will then go and develop the Brilliant Circus. I mean, it's still pretty good here, the Brilliant Circus. There is Pierre for later on. Not that much else synergy. I mean, in H2 there's no real synergy. But also Silent is sitting on no happy faces, so he needs a happy face solution. Has the Brilliant Circus in hand, and with the prospect of Pierre being there at some point, it's also good. And then he will also get culture now. Getting 2 culture from those from Michelangelo because of the Brilliant Circus is solid culture income, so I'm liking that. And then next turn he will have enough rocks for journalism, so I guess that's his plan. Next turn develop journalism and build one. Then he would also be ready for Shakespeare, so we could see a fight over who gets Shakespeare. And it will be Weida. Weida gets Shakespeare even for 2 civil actions because it's the next card that comes out. So yeah, that mystery was resolved pretty quickly. You will grab Shakespeare. You will elect him as well. Develop drama for nothing. And then really build one. So these are really cheap now. With the masonry, this is really ridiculous. 1 rock for drama and 2 for the printing press. While if he gets 1 drama, the printing press will go down to 0. So yeah, that is now the case. So 0 and 1 rocks. He doesn't need rocks anymore. He only needs population, at least for his urban buildings. So yeah, this is pretty strong. And then he will go for the monarchy now and build another one of the dramas, getting 4 extra culture production from Shakespeare and going up to 10 culture production. Pretty impressive. But yeah, this is where he runs out of population, so next turn he can go for irrigation or maybe even selective breeding, even though I would assume Silent will take that one away. I think Silent is a little bit in trouble here. I mean, of course not military-wise, no one is pushing for military. This will probably be a culture game for now. But there's definitely pressure on him because Weida is going up in culture production so much. And because Silent can't keep up if he doesn't get more civil and military actions. So for him, he really needs a new government form now, I think, and it will not come out yet. Development of science, 2 science for both. And then he probably, yeah, he will go for the selective breeding, upgrade 1 iron, build an extra printing press. I mean, he's keeping up in culture production with that. And the problem is these bread and circuses are only good in H2. I mean, it can also be good in H3 with Pierre, but when Michelangelo is gone, they will not be producing more culture, and that is not true for Shakespeare. So that is the big difference in the culture generating from Michelangelo and Shakespeare. That Shakespeare can survive into H3 and Michelangelo cannot. And then Silent grabs reserves. So another reserves, 2 reserves in hand. I mean, could have even seen him grab the frugality instead. He doesn't have many civil actions. His hand is full actually. And with that other reserves already in his hand, I think I would have preferred the frugality from him. Weida will grab cavalryman. Probably also has to grab the cannon. There's also strategy. Ooh, there's a lot of cards here. So he skips cannons. That is probably a big tell that he has the hussars in his hand. Because why else would you only go for cavalryman? There's all 3 techs on deck. We have rifleman, we have cavalryman, and there's cannon. And it's very, very rarely that you see someone skip the cannon by choice, because it's only on 1 civil action. He could have easily grabbed it. So there's probably a big tell that he has hussars in hand. Which then for Silent would be reason to also grab the 2nd copy of the cavalryman. But we will see if he does that later. So Silent will not push. He is stronger. I think he played most of these cards. He played 3. But he's not pushing. He's not pushing. He will grab the Suez Canal though. So finally finds another wonder to build or to grab, first of all, with Michelangelo. Grabs Rifleman. Develops journalism and can build 1. Yeah, so he's actually gonna go up to 9 culture production, almost reaching that of Weida. And then 7 rocks next turn. So next turn he could play reserves and finish the Suez. He has to have a pretty big colony in hand. Why else would you go for Suez Canal when you have no other colonies? So I'm definitely expecting either the autonomous, or then the 2nd best one is probably inhabited or vast. Develop is also fine. There's some good ones, but is developed territory 2 really worth going for the Suez Canal? Might also depend on if there are more colonies in the deck, but with him not going for the navigation, it doesn't seem that likely. So very interested in that choice, and he will also show a tactic. I mean, yeah, he definitely can. Weida, as we said, skipped cannons. You will not be getting riflemen, and he's definitely signaling the hussars. So Silent will reveal his tactic so that he can keep other cards. Probably like colonization cards if there's colonies, and then the colony that he needs to keep for the Suez. Good Harvest will hit, and what will also hit is the Cornmon. It will hit the deck, and I would assume Weida will deny it because Silent has enough science for it. But first, Weida will go for strategy. Increase pop. Ooh, he's not. He's gonna give Silent the Cornmon. I'm not sure if that is not a mistake. That is definitely what Silent wants here. I mean, one problem could be that with that he can't finish the Suez, but that's still definitely a good choice for Silent to grab a government form and finally have more MAs, more civil actions as well. So I think we're gonna see that. Newton for him, and then Cornmon as well. Wave, Engineering Genius. Play that. What did he play? Reserves from H1. Goes for Rifleman, upgrades 1, 2, and then probably increase population. So interestingly, he does skip the breakthrough, but yeah, has to get out of corruption. Wants the Engineering Genius over the breakthrough and the Wave over the breakthrough. Makes sense. And yeah, Newton is pretty good for him. All of a sudden, he went from not very much civil actions to a lot of civil actions, plus getting some of them back with Newton. So all of a sudden, if you want to call it that, he has a lot of mobility in his game. So yeah, definitely like that. He's behind in culture production, but not by that much. Weida's only producing from the pairs, so it's just 10 culture. I mean, it's quite a lot, but it's not as much as you sometimes see. He has no third pair, he has no wonders, no other building is producing culture. And Silent has that 3 culture production from the library and the Silk Road, and then 2 more from the journalism. So yeah, he's not that far behind in culture production. But the problem is Weida, with his extra population, can build more dramas, more pairs, can spend all of his rocks on something else. Because, as we said, he needs no rocks for buildings. If he has population, if he has the civil actions, he can just build more pairs and doesn't need any rocks for that. So Silent will finish his turn. Next turn he can then finish the sewers as well. Weida will develop the hussars, grabs a breakthrough, destroys Aurora to build another printing press. Interesting that he doesn't want the pair, he wants the extra printing press, so he has 6 science next turn. That could be important for, I don't know, will he grab anything here? He doesn't need architecture, he already has masonry. Can't go for cavalryman again, so okay, he goes for the extra pair. He destroys an extra philosophy, builds another drama, so he's up to 15 culture production and down to 4 science again. So he finds a way to get some extra population by destroying Aurora and philosophy, and then he also builds an extra cavalryman. Yeah, I mean, the game plan for Weida can be at this. He has a pretty good position with the culture production and everything. So the ideal playstyle here is you have the cheap buildings, they didn't cost much, and now we have a lot of rocks which you can put into military. You will be producing a lot of culture, put all your rocks into military. Your opponent has to also put rocks into military, but he won't have as many good urban buildings because they are that much more expensive for him. But for both of that you need population. So I think for Weida the best thing would have been to go for wonders. Wonders don't need population, so there you can spend rocks without having to destroy things. But looks like he didn't want the railroad. He didn't want the Kremlin. Kremlin has a problem with the unhappy worker. There's no easy way for Weida to get... No, there's not. I guess he could go for Kremlin next turn. Because there's Forbidden City, so Weida has no problem with happy faces, even though it might look like it. I was fooled for a second here. But Kremlin would be a great wonder for him. So he will also leave it on the deck. And I think it's rather unlikely that Silent will go for that. Maybe even can't. But with that, H3 will start. Weida will lose the engineering genius. Then Silent will push. We don't see a lot of pushing here. Not that much. And new deposits will open 6 for both. So a lot of rocks for Silent here. He will play in more rocks from the reserves. Finish the Suez Canal, and which colony will he get? It will be inhabited. Yeah, inhabited is good. I mean, he needs population quite a lot, so that's good. And then he, besides that, also built another H2 library, so another journalism. Yeah, he's up to 7 culture production, up to 7 rock production. So the Suez is not doing that much more than giving him the colony. 1 rock production isn't that big, but yeah, solving his population a little bit. Can still go for the selective breeding. Could even go for this turn, so let's see if that's what he does here. No, grabs the urban growth for the next journalism probably. And he has population now. He has population, he can put 1 into journalism. 1 more definitely, and after that maybe go for upgrading selective breedings. So it's not anymore true that he's not that far behind in culture production. He's sitting at 7 to 15 now, which is the power of Shakespeare. That Silent, I mean, he put 8 rocks into his journalism and still only got 2 extra culture production. Weida last turn put 1 rock in there and got 5 more. So yeah, that's an uphill battle, but he's keeping close. We have 49 culture here versus 55 here, plus 15 because it's Weida's turn. So 60, 70, so it starts to fall behind. But he has other strong suits of himself. For example, events. He has played events. Weida hasn't that many, so I would 100% expect that this Uncertain Borders was played by Silent, and Weida pushed into that, not respecting it enough. So he will lose one yellow cube. He will also grab the Fundamentalism, destroy another warrior, and build Cavalryman. Okay, spam some Cavalryman, use the population to do that. At some later point, he can go for Fundamentalism, and then he can go for another pair if he gets the population. But yeah, basically he's doing what I said he should and would be doing, besides not going for the Kremlin. But maybe that would have been too late now. Maybe with him losing the Engineering Genius, he couldn't finish it this turn. I guess he could. There was the new deposit, so I think he could have gone for the Kremlin and finished that, but decides against it, grabs the Fundamentalism here, and with that he's definitely looking threatening. With that and the Patriotism, probably a tactic in hand, he could potentially at some point declare the war, go for Fundamentalism, build another Cavalryman, reveal the tactic, and the tactic being Hussars would be 8 extra if he has a Cavalryman. So yeah, a little bit unfortunate for him, the timing that he lost a yellow cube now to the Uncertain Borders, and now he becomes stronger. But let's see how Silent, we also see Weida reveal his tactic. Also interesting that his first opportunity where he can draw H3 cards, he's not really going to do that. He has a lot of military actions, but he decides to spend most of them this turn, and only drawing one new card. So not being very conservative with his military actions and not drawing any cards, but yeah, that's his decision. Grabs reserves here as well. I mean, they are pretty good. H3 reserves are very flexible, very good card. Air Forces drawn immediately for 3 by Silent. That, yeah, is definitely good for him. He can develop that, play the wave, play the Air Force. Go for food production as well. Newton giving him 2 extra civil actions this turn, allowing him to go for the extra food production. And then he grabs Cavalryman as well. And has 12 science. 12 science and 11 rocks. So he has enough to build a cannon and a cav next turn if he needs to defend. And then he's even not only looking at defending. As you said, Weida has potential for strength, but now with Silent getting all of the necessary techs and air forces, and he already has a tactic and one that could be upgraded quite easily if he has drawn the modern army. This is looking even more scary. So yeah, and he's drawing full again. He is being more careful about his MA, so he's drawing H3 cards. So yeah, I guess that's what we're looking at. Silent has to be the aggressor because he's binding culture and production. So Weida wants to defend and then hope that his production of culture will keep him ahead. He will play the revolutionary idea, go for Marlene. Marlene is great for him. Marlene is really great for him. I mean, first of all, she gives a lot of culture as well from the drama, gives happy faces, which he might want. And then strength as well, so she's the perfect leader for him. He can stay with Shakespeare as long as he can, as long as he doesn't need either the happy faces or the strength from Marlene. Still producing a lot more extra culture than Marlene would at this point. And then next turn he can go for Fundamentalism and probably go for another pair. And then go for Marlene when he really needs it. Besides that, yeah, just grab those MAs. I think we are now in full military race. Silent just committed to that. Before that, he had other options. He could have, with his bigger science production, he could go for impacts. He could go for another journalism, hope to catch up with Pierre. Because if he gets another journalism and Pierre, all of a sudden he's also over 10 culture production. And then with some impacts, with some wonders perhaps, there's definitely potential for him. But yeah, he now decides he's gonna go for military with going for the Air Force, grabbing the Cavalryman. So that's probably where the game is headed, in military race. So all the rocks that you can grab are very precious. So yeah, Weida does that with the Patriotism and also with Marlene being military or being good in military as well. Scientific Breakthrough, that is great for Silent. 10 extra science. and he can spend that easily with Newton. So probably going to see satellites. Okay, first of all, cannon and cav. Endowment is also good. Another urban growth. Engineering genius. He's also grabbing all those rocks that he can. They can't be used as military rocks, so that's the big difference now. Silent has a lot of rocks in hand as well, but Weida has reserves and patriotisms, while Silent has urban growths and engineering genius. So it's kind of like I just said, Silent kind of wants to go for military, but his yellow cards are not good for military, while Weida has the good military yellow cards. So I wouldn't be surprised for Silent to go for another journalism here, maybe with the urban growth. Let's see, grabs revolutionary idea. Okay, will not go for it. He's still set on military. Maybe he already has all the cards that he needs in hand, and he's planning just to get along with the rocks that he has. Probably has, or maybe has the new tactic, has the war already, and he's relying on the military carrying him at the end. So we'll go up to 33 strength with building that extra cavalryman. He doesn't have any extra MAs, so he's also definitely searching for the military theory. That would be a big boost for his strength. Has enough rocks? No, he doesn't have enough rocks for another army, because he can't use the urban growths for cannons or cavalrymen. So it will be exciting to see if he's already ready for the war that he can go for. Weida will go for the extra cavalryman, will go for fundamentalism, but no extra pair. He uses his population for hussars, for cavalrymen. He gets another reserves in hand, so more flexible rocks into his hand that he can use for military. Will deny the democracy from Silent. And there's 7 rocks plus reserves, patriotisms. The one thing that he doesn't have is air forces, and he also does have no science for air forces. So there could still be potential for Silent to overcome him still, because Weida's military is a lot less efficient than Silent. Silent could, if he has the modern army, has the perfect military for at least as far as effectiveness or efficiency goes, because yeah, this is all you need to have a very strong military. Of course, it would be better to have even more, but he's very efficient with what he does. Weida not so much. Only cavalrymen with hussars is not as good as modern armies with air forces. Silent is stronger and will push and gets the refugees. Yeah, I was thinking about that. If maybe it would have been worth for Weida to play Marlene. If he played Marlene, he would have gotten stronger. He would have only lost 3 culture production. And 3 culture production could matter, depending on where the game goes, especially if there's Hollywood or something. It could be even more. But if he had played Marlene, he would have gotten stronger. And yeah, I mean, there was no way to tell if there would be refugees or not, but there were. So in retrospect, I think it would have been the right move to go for Marlene. Because now he loses a pop, Silent will gain one, so it's definitely great for him. Let's see what he does with that. Grabs engineering. Ooh, now he transitions into into culture. I like that. So we'll go for 1 military build-up as well. Okay, so he's not doing the full transition, still keeping Weida guessing, but goes for 1 movies with the engineering. There's the Hollywood now. There's International Red Cross, which can't be really used by Silent, and also not really by Weida. We also have Manhattan Project and Internet. So if there's no military, no war, then the Hollywood could be very important. I mean, Internet is also going to be gone. So yeah, if Weida grabs the Hollywood, even to deny it next turn, I think there's no way that Silent can win unless he has a war. I think he needs a war now. And I think he will. Weida goes for the Hollywood. So let's see it. He can push, but he doesn't. He does go for Hollywood immediately. He also gets the military theory denied. Will finish the Hollywood? Not quite. I can't quite finish it, yeah. So this time he will elect Marlene, because Shakespeare would be gone before the next turn anyway. He will be stronger here with 36 to 33. So next turn is the Silent's last chance to go for war, and he will not be getting any extra military actions. So if he has a war, he can only declare it and play a new tactic. Gets some extra strength from satellites, but that's it. Maybe pro sports. I mean, pro sports could be a way to get extra strength. And I think it's his only chance. He's quite behind in culture. I mean, 83 to 111, I think. That is quite a lot, and he will not get a good wonder. I mean, maybe he can get the Red Cross, but even that is not a given. And the Manhattan Project is not going to be enough, so I see trouble for him. But let's find out. Because Silent will push. He will not declare war. Historic territory won by Weida. Where's to send 2 cavalrymen and a lot of cards. This should be the final nail into Silent's coffer. He will grab that. Red Cross. He will go for Pierre. Satellites first with Newton, then Pierre. 15 culture from him. Destroys military to build an extra farm. Okay, so Weida can steal 1 stage of the Red Cross, but Silent will get the rest, thanks to that extra 1 food from the agriculture. So that's why he does that. But can that be enough? I don't think so. Weida still gets a lot from his Hollywood, and then also gets 1 stage of the Red Cross. Of course, impacts are still a lot better for Silent, I would imagine. Patriotism is discarded as we reach H4 here. So, peaceful game, no wars in the end. Economic progress, okay, a lot of extra food for Silent, so he didn't need that extra agriculture after all. Multimedia by Weida, he can develop that, upgrade 1, destroy a cavalryman, build an extra drama. Yeah, he's setting up for very strong Hollywood, and Silent can't even punish him. Weida might lose to an aggression, but Silent wants to declare the Olympic Games. And with the Olympic Games, it doesn't really make too much sense to go for an aggression. It could still happen, but probably unlikely. Like, if Silent could destroy multimedia and drama, maybe then it's good. But yeah, we'll see. I think he's just going to play another impact, if he has a good one at least. We'll go for the Olympic Games. We'll open the input of science, which is definitely a very good start for him into these impacts. He can then finish the Red Cross. So he gained 24 plus 2, and Weida got 6. Then we have him destroying that and building another movies and another one. Yeah, 3 movies. Upgrading the farm. So there's probably impact of agriculture. So he has 3 impacts. He has pretty good impacts in general, but I just fear that he's behind too much after the wonder happens, because Weida can even upgrade 1 more multimedia and then finish the wonder for over 30, I would guess at this point. So Weida will open input of harmony. Is pretty bad for him, but it's not that great for Silent. 16 to 8 is still good, but Weida only having 2 military, that could have been a lot worse if Silent had more balanced population. Weida will upgrade 1 and gets 38 from the Hollywood. I think that has to be enough for him. Can't imagine which impacts that could be. Upgrade, yeah, these don't matter. And we will go into the final impacts. We will see government first, 21 for Weida and 18 for Silent. I mean, yeah, it's relatively close, but I think it's not close enough for 3 impacts to do the trick. Happiness, 16 to 14 even, yeah, only 2 impacts left, and it's still 30 culture. So culture is good, 10 for the Silent. And the last one is balance, 10 to 12. So yeah, good impacts for Silent, but not enough to catch up. The Hollywood was just too big from Weida. I think that is what decided this in the end. I mean, it's still really, really close. Closer than I thought with that Hollywood. So well done, Silent, keeping the game exciting. But yeah, also well played, Weida, and congrats to him. Great move by him to, in the end, also going for these multimedias was super important. Getting in way bigger Hollywood and culture production. So well done him. And yeah, exciting match. One of the, or two of the top players here. And of course, we, after this, also going to take a look at their standings or their results in the league. And here we can see in the, at the point of recording this, all the groups beside Group 8 have finished. So in Group 18 we can find Weida and Silent, and we can see that actually both of them will advance. Weida able to win all of his games, and Silent only losing that one to Weida, so they are the best of their group and will advance to the next stage. So yeah, great to see these two great players advance, and we will see them in the next stage as well. So yeah, once again, congrats to Weida and also to Silent for advancing. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and see you next time.